Stugotz, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment here, but when player empowerment makes an appearance and it shakes the foundation of something that America is used to, it gets my attention. The MANNINGCAST,
amazing.
I believe, with the resources of ESPN and Disney, Peyton Manning's going to be able to call his shot here, as he already has. The Gruden gig was the great gig. Peyton Manning said, nah, man, I ain't got time for that. They went after him from every angle. Nope, not putting my name, my brand, my Mr. Football family royalty. Nope, not traveling to games, not giving you 16 Sundays. I'll do it from my house. I'll take 3 weeks off. I'm doing it with my brother. God damn it, he stole my playbook. And he's Peyton Manning, and now he's got all the resources and the guests they're getting. ESPN does not have the power and size to get those people paying $1 billion with its partnership. They can't just pick up a phone and here's Breeze and here's Tom Brady and they're just hanging out and here's Marshawn Lynch and they're cursing and they're trafficking in their relationships. And the Mannings are going to be able to be a broadcast that very quickly, Stugotz, I've been yelling about this for years, make it more entertaining, more interesting, more different. Nope, got to keep it the same way. Got to keep it the same way. People are tired of the same way, man.
Yep.
And in a couple of weeks they've taken more weeks off than they've worked. Those guys are getting people's attention because the broadcast is that different.
If you're Peyton Manning, if you're Eli Manning, and you really want to make a mark and stand out and be different, you have to be willing to call on your friends. And they are clearly willing to call on their friends. Last night, Tom Brady, Marshawn Lynch was doing shots, and they're relaxed. Their friends are relaxed. Marshawn Lynch doing shots, cursing on air. And then to get Drew Brees in the final quarter of a close Saints game was fascinating. And he hung around the entire game and basically told us this is what Sean Payton's thinking at every turn.
I think fascinating is overstating what's happened.
It's pretty good, Mike.
Is it good because it's good, or is it good because it's better than the Monday Night Football booth? Because I think it's good because it's better than the Monday Night Football booth, but that is not a good show.
Mike, I am saying
different.
What it's going to be.
No, it's totally different. It's a train wreck often. More times than it's not, it's a train wreck, but there's famous people, and I'll flock to celebrity.
There's
Mike?
some talking over, but train wreck I think is a little strong.
Oh, it's so poorly produced. They don't know when they're going to break. Everyone's talking over each other. There's such a delay on the audio. They have given zero effort to make that look or sound as good as possible. I understand we're in a pandemic, even though we're coming out of that a lot with what ESPN is producing. The hurdles that they have to leap over there are just Peyton and Eli are in different places. Sometimes there's ambiguity there as to whether or not there isn't any effort being put into making this as good as possible.
What Mike is saying is fair, but Mike, I will only say we've been doing the show 20 years together. We do it from different places. It's a struggle sometimes. And so I understand they're not making the effort, but I think what Dan is saying is not what it is now, what it's going to be down the road if they make the effort, if they want it to be that.
It doesn't even have to be that much effort. All they have to do, they are using on the stage, fooling around with millions of people in viewership. A little experiment. They just took 3 weeks off. Hey, Eli and Peyton, will you lend your name and your brand to this thing and just fool around, bring in your friends? We'll try and figure it out. You're going to be in different places. All right, 3 weeks off during the season, no problem. Just we need the Manning name. Can we get the Manning name? If they want to be good at it, if Eli and Peyton are about this, like they want to do some conquering like LeBron does, they'll clean that shit up quick. They'll get in there and they'll quarterback that thing. If they want to conquer this space, this little space, they know what they've got. They've got it already. Wait, we can sign up however we want with Disney, wherever we want. Can we make this actually good? Like really good. Not just big guests and just it's us watching the game with us, but can we make this really good? Like replacing the way that you watch these things good.
I understand some of their access might be just, hey, Tom, hop in on this, but is it a Zoom? Are we doing AirPods? Is there any improvements that we can make whatsoever on this? So I understand people are remote. Talking over each other is going to happen, especially when you don't have a host or polish. But the show took 3 weeks off. In that 3 weeks, do you think any work was being done to make this a more enjoyable experience outside of booking more guests?
I love that you're watching it through a producer's prism.
It's
And
not
I'm just-
how anybody else is watching.
I'm just telling you,
it.
as a fan, it's
And
enjoyable,
the 3
man.
weeks off, like these guys are very green, super green.
But I
Right.
enjoy that. Like you
So
can
do
see
I.
on Peyton's
Yes.
face when there's talking over, he does this thing where it's like he does like a long blink.
Yes.
And it's just I don't know. I'm just enjoying. I'm with you. It
Sweating
could be
guys.
cleaner.
Like he'll throw it to Breeze and realize, man, that was the wrong spot to throw it to Breeze. They're about to score a touchdown, and Breeze is in the middle of a story, and Peyton makes a face.
It
and you
could
laugh
be
at him.
cleaner, but I
Right.
just am enjoying it.
My point is just I want to marvel at this part of it. The Mannings got a real prime platform. And Peyton's a perfectionist, and he wants to be good at things. He's getting mad when he's coming up to the line, and no one knows what Omaha means because everyone's talking over each other. He will get that corrected if he wishes
And
to.
his brother kind of has the Stugotz look of like, why are you stressing
Yes,
this? We're
yes.
good, man. It's such a funny dynamic.
They got Breeze for free. I mean, NBC had to pay a lot of money to get Drew
But
Brees
Chris,
on.
but what I'm saying about this partnership, all of it, okay, is that will absolutely bloom. It doesn't have to be ESPN that cares about it, really. All ESPN has to do is stand aside and give some money to it, which they will, because it's going to get more and more popular.
I think you're overstating, guys, that he's going to fix it. Will he? Because he very clearly does whatever he wants on ESPN. He says no to them, and he gets the resources to have Omaha Productions produce this thing. I think he's got an inner circle that's telling him how great it is. I'm sure he's got his own frustrations. That is very clear. But if the 3 weeks off are any indication, there is zero will to make this a better, more pleasurable experience, even while keeping some of that organic fun flair that it has. I like that it's relaxed. It's just they're trying to appear relaxed by just merely talking over each other. They're trying to give off polish. Peyton is not trying to be your best friend too. He's trying to talk like he knows stuff, and he's trying to do the formal stuff of resetting the topics and getting the guests involved. It needs a little production help.
I think it's perfect as is. I think the train wreck element is part of what sells it. It has to be raw, not polished. It has to be the stark opposite of what you're used to, of what you're getting in the Monday night booth. And it succeeds to the degree that it's a template, and other networks are going to copy it and try to do something similar.
Mike, just so that you'll understand how much you're looking at this through the production prism.
Great.
I feel
I
like
love it.
I have a very unpopular take. I feel like no one
No,
is
but
on my
listen,
side.
No, but I understand why you're looking at it that way.
It's not good.
I'm looking at the macro. I didn't actually want to
It's not good.
No, it's only considered good because it's compared to Monday Night Football, which is quite honestly so unspectacular right now that of course they're going to cannibalize it. But if it were Gruden and Tirico doing Monday Night Football like it was a couple of years ago, I am all over that over this. It's just celebrity. When I saw the photo, the SNL ripoff of the guests that were coming on, I was like, hell yeah, we're getting Tom Brady. This is amazing. And then I was so frustrated that we couldn't really get anywhere substantive.
He said he
because we
gave the
kept-
guy a Bitcoin.
No, that was interesting, but there's one interesting thing from 20 uninterrupted minutes with Tom Brady. It's just
I enjoyed all those. I mean, we're allowed to all have our opinions here. I just have been enjoying all of it. I enjoyed Brady. I actually thought Breeze was a little he brought his kid in and it got awkward for a minute. I don't know.
I kind of feel like consistently, that's funny because while it was cool to see Tom Brady and everyone, I'm sure the viewership spiked during that, I think consistently they're at their best in the fourth quarter because everything that they pre-produce goes out the window and they start talking about the game and it's X's and O's football. They get the most relaxed guests. That's when Russell Wilson was good. I thought Drew Brees was the best guest once it got really going with him.
But I like seeing them rib each other like friends, just all-time greats, where there was an exchange where Brady said, I enjoyed playing against Peyton more than Eli. Wow. Excuse me.
I like I like them
fine.
ribbing on each other.
Yeah, I choked.
This is a record. He has now find himself a record $15.
I'm upset with myself.
today.
It's
That
a-
is
it's
a
a- it's an
$5
emotional
fine.
topic.
The
for all of us.
exchange was what I was trying to say, where Brady said, I enjoyed my games against Peyton far more than Eli. And Eli responds, I enjoyed all of our games against Tom. I mean, it's funny.
It's funny. The timing is a little off. That happens with remote. They can keep some of that stuff, just a little bit more effort in trying to cut down on the latency. Make the image a little bit better. Make the sound a little bit
Okay,
better.
Oh, the sound. I've been holding on to this since this conversation began. Can people stop doing interviews with AirPods. It sounds like shit. Stop. Every single guest yesterday was on AirPods, and I get it. You don't want to have the feedback of not wearing headphones. You have to wear headphones. But Ken, for the love of God, we send these guests a Yeti microphone. It sounds so bad. I don't even love a Yeti microphone, by the way. I think those sound terrible too. But it is so bad to hear television on AirPods. Get somebody a microphone, please.
Just, I appreciate how Micro, both Whittingham and Mike Ryan, are willing to get into the weeds on producing it, and
Enjoy life a little bit, guys.
No, because they know the importance of production, Stugotz. It's easy
I
for
know.
you to enjoy life when they're doing all your production.
The more relaxed the show appears, the more I think you have to kind of produce it if you want to give that off, especially when you're working with talent that haven't really done it before.
I will take you, though. I think the inner workings of this are actually interesting, because if you have someone who cares at ESPN, the way that Whittingham and Mike are talking about caring about the little details that I assure you Peyton Manning doesn't want to think about, but also Peyton Manning is used to NFL living, getting someplace, and shit sounds right, because people have been preparing for 40 hours for Peyton Manning arriving to sit and talk. I think that he's going to have too much pride in what's in front of him, the value of it, to not do this well. And what I'm telling you on the macro that's fascinating is he's got the elements that are hard to get, the ones ESPN and Monday Night Football don't have the power to get. He's got the contacts, and he's got a natural chemistry with his brother and these people that relaxes everyone. But what does he want to be in this space? Does he want to be starched Papa John's commercial guy, relaxed on the golf course, ribbing his brother? Or does he want to be a guy who does a good show, an interesting show, a funny show with comedy from Saturday Night Live that he's hosted? Like, what does he want it to be? But he's got the elements that are hard to get, properly fertilized, Mike. They've done 3 shows. They've done 3, 4.
Well, this is a 4th one.
Yeah, 4.
Like, it's nothing. We're watching him learn. We're
watching him learn, but we're not watching the show improve. It hasn't gotten better, has it? It's the same show. The show's the show.
But when I say learn, what I'm saying is Peyton Manning has just walked into this space, and he does not know what he is doing. He knows how to be Peyton Manning. He doesn't know how to be Mike Greenberg, host of television. That's a total
right. They should have had a host. They tried out Kyle Brand and Mina Kimes. I think Kyle would have done an exceptional job. I love Mina, but Mina's also green. Like, we're just green times 3.
No, my God, Mina?
Mina in there.
Well, Mina
in that
really shines.
environment.
So, like, Mina and Laura are a tremendous pair, because Laura's a really good host. I think this show could have used.
Doesn't it?
Laura
Yeah, but her
on there.
there.
But someone driving traffic, that turns it more into just a normal broadcast,
Yes.
right?
If you overproduce it and make it too close to a standard booth,
They're not
You lose.
They're not hosts. Somebody to bring out the best in them
Well,
the way they brought
I
out the
think-
best in others.
Mike, is it the ins and outs that you want?
I think there's just a disconnect here. You can come off as unpolished, as informal, as relaxed, as anti-establishment, and have more production that goes into it that doesn't make it an unenjoyable experience often while watching that. My shoulders go up in just tense anxiety all the time.
I love that.
That's great.
Same
I
here.
literally
Same
love
Some
those
here.
people find that
moments.
triggering. I don't
It's
see
so
how
great.
you can
No,
love
but I
that.
do it in a way like I'm feeling for the producers, but I find myself smiling though.
Look, man, the part of it that works for me as the reason that you take the chance is because it's this sloppy art that's thrown in front of all of you, and it's got fame and it's got some electricity. And what are they doing over here? Oh, is it good? I don't know if it's good, but it's better than that. That over there is just, of course, 3 guys talking into a microphone doing it the football way.
But Mike is saying you could produce that in a way that it would sound and
But
feel better.
No, but if they produced that the way they produced the thing that they're producing, that would replace the thing they're producing. Like,
it would. That would be Monday Night Football. I think you come away. That is not a relaxing experience. The only thing about that show that's relaxed is Eli, who looks like he's on gummies. There is nothing relaxed about it. And Peyton is revving so high during that.
He is.
I think if you want a more relaxed atmosphere,
it's totally this, Chris. You're right.
I was thinking last
Chris,
night, this is Dan and Stugotz.
but you want the chemistry. That's the hardest thing to get. Eli being the slacker Eli,
making fun of Peyton for
because
stressing
Peyton,
it.
why are you taking things so seriously? What do you mean? I'm fucking Peyton. You're Eli. Like, you're still my little brother. I'm the star here. Like,
Rings, Peyton.
And Eli's just lobbing feces at him because, like, relax. And he's just doing it to bother his big brother.
I think you get a more relaxed Peyton and Eli if someone else is doing the traffic directing. I really do. And I know most of Peyton's career, he had someone yelling in his ear while he was trying to conduct an offense. But it's different on broadcast television. He didn't have to worry about TV timeouts interrupting a play when he was playing. Like, he knew
He's got to learn. He's got to
NFL
learn
clock was
all
timed
of
out.
it. And I love what Cody said, and he was so right off air. Jeff Saturday is texting Peyton, right?
I want to know the guess that Peyton is like, you don't really. We had Brady and Bruce. I can't have Jeff Saturday coming on here.
Cutcliffe.
I would love that. I would love
Cuddy.
The Duke coach, you can't make this.
I would love
You can't-
I think that would be great.
but okay, wait a minute. But Mike, you're going full football dork. You want all the things. You want the
I like the
information.
No, I like the show. I watched that show start to finish. I watched the entire show last night, which, by the way, congrats to me because that game was freaking awful. All right, that's a testament to how engaged I was in this show. I think there are slight improvements that they can make this a clear home run.
Can we get? I want to drill down to the bottom of this, the very, very bottom of this. Are you watching this and saying to yourself, as a former ESPN creative, God damn it, ESPN, look at what's here.
I think
like,
he is.
Fertilize it like crazy. This thing could be so big, so fast if you just get Peyton and Eli to buy in on, like, okay, let's do this and let's make it different and irreverent and fun and loose and informative.
They probably had to agree to certain concessions. Not that I trust ESPN to make that totally great, but I'm sure they had to make concessions why it's produced by Omaha Productions to even get Peyton and Eli to do it. You have to agree with there's only one way we're going to do this Monday night stuff, and it's going to be our way. We're going to take 3 weeks off inexplicably. We're going to be in remote locations. We're not going to have a host. And if I book Tom Brady, you'll probably have 1 day's heads up. You won't have time to send him headphones, and that's just how this is going to be. Fine. But there are just some minute things that they can do to make sure I'm not being triggered while watching it because there are so many production mishaps.
But 99.9% of people watching it are not producers, and they're not watching it like you. And it doesn't seem broken, but we're trying to fix it. I mean,
they're
it's,
just learning.
That's a good perspective that Greg has.
Mike's just saying it could be better. That's
very
all.
clearly. Look, I feel like I'm walking into a buzzsaw here because no one agrees with me outside of send them a goddamn Yeti mic over here.
Not even his top 5 mics. I mean,
Whittingham, thank you for being a good teammate.
I feel like John Hammond in Jurassic Park.
Send him a
This
Yeti.
is remarkable.
You were a great
The only
ally
person that's
there.
agreeing with me is a goddamn lawyer.
If they sent Marshawn Lynch a Shure SM7, I will fall out of my chair.
Mike,
Please.
All right, Mike, what you're doing is brave, okay? In a climate where
I like the show.
it's only okay to have one opinion. It's I don't know about anything. We all have to have the same opinion about everything.
But we were talking earlier, like Stugotz was saying that he didn't care like how much a broadcaster preps, right? But you don't realize that the discernments you make on broadcasters are based on the quality of their prep. You think a show is good or bad based off the quality of
But
its
look at him.
production.
No,
They
but-
prep by
but-
winning
but-
4 Super Bowls. That's how they prep.
But Chris, this is the thing with him though. He's always viewing it through his prism, which is, hey baby, I show up, I clap my hands, and let's make some magic. Like, he doesn't think he's produced. Like, he thinks he just shows up and is the star.
He's one of the most produced talents in the history of the
history
medium.
of the medium.
And he's oblivious to it.
like totally. So he looks at it through
What are you
that
guys
prism.
talking
What do you
about?
mean? You got those guys there that just show up. Can you imagine if Peyton had Stugotz's attitude, which is, I'm just not showing up Thursday, guys. Like, it's gonna be a web of lies, and you guys are gonna do the Monday night show, and you just can't find me because I was lying to Abby at the same time I was lying to
Did
my.
that for 3 weeks.
I booked
Bookie.
7 return flights while also booking none of them.
So he looks at it through that prism. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because it's just got so much potential and so much obvious potential to replace the model. Because what we've been talking, my enthusiasm off it is because we've been talking for so long about whether it's Dennis Miller or Tony Kornheiser. How do you shake at the fabric of how they present to you this conservative sport, its conservative product, by doing it always the same way with the same broadcaster, Steve Levy and a Greasy, and here's Lou Reddick, and no real innovations when there's no real risk. We're going to stay with your game. There is not another alternative. Now you've found the alternative. It is yours. You can have the playground. You put it on ESPN2. People are flocking over there because it's slightly different and it's a mess. And it's so not television, not the starched sports coats, not the way that ESPN does television, a professional broadcast presented to you by the most presentable of presenters.
It was up to 2 million viewers before they took their break. I have no idea what it did last night, but it was up to 2 million.
This can replace that like that if Disney just says so. Like if the Mannings go into business and they're like, oh, we can all figure this out, but it could. I'm just
I kind of
saying
feel like it already has.
But I'm saying, Mike, it's got the ingredients. It's got the ingredients that you need to be the primary broadcast.
It does. I think it's missing a few ingredients, like a host.
A lot of ingredients,
Yeah.
but it's got the ones that you can't recreate that are hard. The relationships, the guest contacts, the ability to play with. Wait a minute. Peyton's the serious one. Eli is playing a character here where he continues to screw with his brother again and again.
I think a host would just get in the way of them.
Perhaps.
Honestly, what are you going to do?
Yes.
Peyton, what do you think about this?
No, but does
Eli?
anyone say that about
No.
Inside the NBA? Like, Ernie Johnson directs that show
Amen.
so that Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith are playing off of each other. I imagine that show, to Mike's point, is impeccably produced.
Yeah.
There's so much going on
so
behind the
much.
scenes.
So you think that show is better if Ernie Johnson is sitting in the middle of that show? I'm not saying you're wrong.
They tried it with players only,
But maybe
it didn't work.
but
They don't do it anymore.
You're taking away the elements that Dan and I are saying that we kind of enjoy, and I think the audience kind of enjoys.
I think Billy's partially right too, because I think ESPN thinks of a host a certain way, and I think Reese Davis would
They
knock it out of the
auditioned
park.
hosts for that.
They did. They did
And
an
they chose
audition.
against it.
They auditioned Kyle Brand, who has some experience there, and Mina, who's not necessarily a host. And Kyle Brand said, "You got what you need there." And I don't know how the rehearsals went. Good enough for Kyle Brand, who's worked in television for a while, to be
He
like,
hosts Frogger now.
yeah, he's a big time host. But I think Witty's point about Ernie Johnson was excellent. He makes that show, and you see personality shine. I think there is a traffic directing element that is screwing up the timing between Peyton and Eli and the guests. And if someone was just there for the rigid formalities while just laughing and letting other people be other people the way Ernie Johnson does, I think you can take it next level. That or Peyton Manning just needs a little bit more time and a little bit more help with the production, and maybe taking 3 weeks off isn't the best way to get better.
But I think a host or a moderator makes it look and sound and feel more like the standard show. And I think that's the opposite of what you want. I think you want the two extremes. You know, you have Steve Levy, vanilla ice cream over here, and here you have a flavor that you've never even heard of before.
You don't think Kyle would not be starched behind a desk? I think you're thinking of it only one way, the way that ESPN presents it. But this is also a departure from how ESPN presents it. I imagine it would be a little bit more relaxed. And I'm not saying they need a host. I'm saying they need a host right now. What they need more than anything is just a little bit more production help to make it seem a little tighter, to get away from some of the latency issues.
Mike, but for the audience, as we get into the weeds on this, you have clearly expressed your producer's viewpoint on just explaining to the audience, this is the stuff that happens in the background that sometimes you may not notice. And it's not totally ridiculous to say Ernie Johnson makes that show, but
that's a different show too. That's a studio
But it's
show.
the
This you're
standard.
reaction,
But
but
it-
you're
not
reacting
many-
to a game here. The
Right.
game is what's driving
but this
things.
is the standard.
Not many Ernie Johnsons.
This is the best, okay? This is the standard for the show, the last of the innovations. ESPN has never been able to recreate what this studio show is with all the money and all of their corporate visions, whatever they are through Disney. They can't recreate what that show has. That show has a number of different things, one of which is those guys all love Ernie. Ernie loves them. Ernie is there to be their host, literally just allow them to be their best selves in a space that they trust him to traffic, when Charles specifically doesn't go around trusting everybody.
But that comes from Tim Kiley, who's their executive producer, and I think that's what Mike is saying. It just needs to be produced, not necessarily a host, you know?
Well, whatever it is, it can learn it very quickly if open to the kinds of things that we're talking about is my point. You can watch something right here happening in front of you that can be what we've wanted this space's sensibilities to be very quickly. If they can manage the egos where the power is on Peyton, what do you want this to be? Do you want it to be what Suits want it to be? Or do you want to really carve your own path with something that you need production help, but you've got all the other things here that would make this, you would be able to make this your brand for the next 15 years if you actually pour just a little fertilizer on this and open your mind.
I've got no idea. I couldn't even guess to the level of those conversations have happened, or maybe a producer has tried all of these things. It's logical to believe a producer has run ideas like, hey, let's get a different microphone. Let's get off of AirPods. And Peyton Manning's like, get the hell out of here. I'm at Tom Brady, 8 p.m. Get the bleep out of here.
You guys have turned into management that want to change a good thing and think that you guys can fix what the problems are. This is going well. People like this.
Right.
This is different.
but
That's why people like it.
But Mike cares deeply about
Don't you think
production.
management cares deeply about production when they would push back on things?
But the Mannings can push back, Billy. That's the point. They can say, no, I don't want a host. I don't want a producer. I'm
we're
happy
getting
with
old.
our producer.
But Billy, I just love that. Yes, it's plenty fine. This is how we got here. It's plenty fine just the way it is. That's how we got to Brian Greasy, Steve Levy. Who did you call? You called him Vanilla Extract? What did you call him?
Vanilla.
Yeah,
Just
vanilla ice cream.
Ice
Yeah.
cream.
Well,
ice
yeah,
cream.
Billy went,
Levy
whoa,
Lounge,
because that
yeah,
for an
come on.
innocuous columnist, that was a very strong comment from you.
Vanilla means bland to me.
It's also the most popular flavor ice cream, isn't it?
Well, I
don't like
I
it.
love French vanilla compared
I mean,
to
little
standard.
twist, yeah.
I like
created
orange.
cold
Oh my
Soda,
God.
as we
Vanilla
learned
with the
earlier.
twist.
Vanilla
It's
bean
great.
for me.
It's great, yeah.
Vanilla bean.
Yeah.
Vanilla bean is good.
Oh, yeah.
Sharper
No,
taste.
it's excellent. Yeah.
Like a nice vanilla
I
bean.
like the
Dulce de
way
leche.
you scrape it off
Oh,
the thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great.
Follow me to the zone.
What's your favorite ice cream,
Delightful.
Dan? What's your second favorite ice cream? Don't say your first.
Ooh.
My
Dan's favorite ice cream.
second favorite ice cream
Mm.
of all time. This is a difficult question because am I allowed to just take birthday cake from Carvel
Mm-mm.
and just have
No,
that?
no,
have
no,
that-
no.
Doesn't count.
I'll allow it.
No.
I'll allow
No.
it.
You don't allow
I'll
it.
allow it.
No.
No,
you the
no,
boss
that-
around here?
that's a cake. It's not ice
Yeah.
cream. My second
Very
favorite ice cream,
different.
like Cherry Garcia. Like
How
that.
do you cut it
okay,
with a
yeah.
do you cut it with a cake cutter or do you cut it with a scooper? No, you don't use a scooper. You use
Right.
a cake cutter.
But
It's a
this-
There you go.
desecration
I
of
would
ice
use
cream.
a
There are layers to this though, because even if I go outside of the birthday cake category, I would say that you don't want me to say the best ice cream I've ever had. You just
No,
want
second,
the
The
second.
second,
Yeah, second.
yeah. Don't tell us the best.
Because I would say that the crunchies in the middle of the ice cream cake are the best thing that you will
That's
find.
not
That's
ice
not
cream.
ice
That's
cream,
crunchies.
man.
Come on.
Crunchies,
Crunchies,
yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
are you
yeah.
gonna say your favorite part of a hamburger is sesame seeds?
Whoa.
You know, those
Ooh,
also show
ouch.
up in poop.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Not the crunchies. Sesame seeds.
Yeah.
Can I-
Nuts do. in
Can I
general.
get back to you? Can I create my list of 45 favorite ice cream
Mhm.
flavors?
Wow,
and then
45
count down
flavors.
more. Count down
But
more.
not number
formally.
one.
Don't
Yeah.
tell
Well,
us
because
number one.
I need. Well, yeah, because I need to figure out how this goes. What do you have a ready-made answer for the question being asked of what is your favorite and your second favorite
Yeah, I
ice
do.
cream?
Sure.
Not your favorite.
Yeah. My second favorite would be the aforementioned, vanilla, but not standard vanilla, like French vanilla, heavy on the bean. And of course, my favorite ice cream of all time is maple walnut. It brings me back to New England.
La la la. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, we don't want to hear your favorite, just your second
No one
favorite.
else
But
does.
it's a
Old
good
man.
choice.
Man.
Good
I
choice.
misunderstood the
Follow
game.
the
I'm sorry.
rules.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
You
the
said
rules. Okay.
Steve Levy. You took him out with a bomb,
Right.
saying that he was vanilla. You did not mean it's because he's popular or one of your favorites.
Right.
You were slicing Steve Levy, but that has been what the broadcast is when brought to you by corporate interest.
Yes, he's a professionally bland. I mean, he's not bad at what he does. He's perfectly polished. He's very polished, which is what the Mannings aren't.
But they tried to get Manning for that booth. He was too big for that job. Think about that job. That was Gruden's job. It's a giant job. He's like, I do not have time for it. I'll give you 13 weeks, not 16. I'm taking 3 weeks off. He really can call his shot here. I don't know if the audience finds this as interesting as we do. I know we got into the weeds on the production
Well, I think the
elements.
audience loves.
They don't.
No, they might not care about this conversation. They do love that telecast, though. I mean, People are flocking to
but
it.
the idea,
it's ESPN too.
but Whittingham, not surprisingly, Whittingham and Mike, because this is required. It's
Woody over here is a host, so he's kind of looking out for his own.
No, but it's required of the professional standard in the industry to be good producers. It's required to show up and be like, you know what this needs, even though it's plenty good enough to be better than the best production.
But we're also assuming there's no production, right? Like,
Which is
if
why
people watch this show, how many times they think, wow, that should be better produced? And it's like, well, Greg doesn't know
How
what's
many
going
more producers would they like us to have around here to realize that we are very much produced? We've got more than no show in the history of the medium. Colin Cowherd has 10 writers. He doesn't have 10 producers.
on. Not that are on air. He has people behind the scenes.
Chris, do you think Tom Coughlin has tried to get in and they're like, oh, he's too boring? They're going to have to break some people's hearts along the way, like Tony Dungy,
I think
perhaps.
yes. I think Tony Dungy has gotten the no. That's how good these guest lists.
Really?
have been. Yeah. I think Tony Dungy got it.
Yeah.
He's a backup. I bet you they have a fifth guest,
Right.
like just in case someone. And I bet you Tony Dungy's.
I
just been
think
that
he's
guy.
going to start going to celebrity, like Celebrity
Yeah.
Beyond Sports.
Makes
I
sense.
think why not go first and second quarter and talk to your Hollywood friends just because you're Peyton Manning and you can get them? Like, if you want to keep throwing star power at this,
I don't think Tony Dungy owns a TV. Wow. Like, I don't think he watches any TV. He happens to be on it, but I don't think he watches any TV.
You have Coughlin owning one?
Rabbit ears.
He for sure has a
For
transistor
sure.
radio.
there are channels. He's got to turn the channel by hand, and there are some channels that are just static.
Right. There's aluminum foil on those
Oh
antennas.
yeah, big time.
What's the rest of that living room look like? What else do you have? Because
Well, it's the TV that you open that's in a piece of furniture, right?
The console, Magnavox.
Yes.
We're not getting a flat screen because we paid way too much for that entertainment center in 1993. Also, a bunch of clocks in the living room because you always got to be 5 minutes early.
Right. That's right. There's also a record player on the Magnavox console on top of it.
In a Barker Lounger.
That's right.
what color?
Brown.
Mahogany.
Oh, yes.
Is there a World War I bayonet anywhere in the home?
Duh.
Hanging on the wall.
Yeah. And a bookshelf.
Right.
War books.
War books. All Greatest
It's all-
Generation.
it's
Like
it's-
30% authored by Tom Brokaw.
There's nothing else in there.
Greatest
Well,
Generation.
there's some Bill Riley.
Whoa, come
Whoa.
on.
Wow.
Accusations.
Just
He wants
his-
a collar.
They're great lengths to not tell us your
Wow.
second favorite ice cream.
Historian.
It's a lamp in there somewhere.
Lamps all purchased at an antique sale.
Yeah.
Did he do that? No, right? He didn't go to the auction or
That's
anything
a
like that.
missus.
People.
The missus.
Okay, so he's just lending his yes, honey, you can have you can create for us the aesthetic that you would want within the confines of my military schooling.
Correct. There's a bowl of artificial fruit somewhere in the room as well.
Is
Wax
there?
apple. Yeah.
From a long time ago,
Yeah.
or is it's been there for a long time?
It's
right?
dusty.
It's been there forever.
It's crazy.
Are people still doing that? Is that a thing that people still do?
Oh, yeah.
Plastic fruit.
A family photo they took at Sears.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You have Jim Fossil trying to get in there, Chris?
I don't
He
imagine
knows.
they're friends. I don't.
Do they intercom in when Fossil comes over? Is there a gate or
Well,
anything?
I believe Jim Fossil's dead now, so that'd be tough.
Oh, really?
Oh,
R.I.P.
we lost Jim
Oh,
Fossil.
no.
Sorry,
Man,
Jim. Sorry,
this
Jim.
show was
I'm not
costing me a
nervous at
lot
all
of
about
money.
this. I'm pretty confident
Really?
he's dead.
Okay, let me check.
Well, you already killed someone
Confirmed.
and didn't pay the $50.
No, I said it in the form of a question.
Okay, so McAdoo comes over. Is McAdoo coming over? No, he replaced Tom Coughlin. So Brunel's coming over.
Oh yeah,
Jacksonville Coughlin.
yeah.
And what are they having? Soup?
Spagnola.
Soup.
Fossil died 4 months ago.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
What just happened?
R.I.P.
Oh.
Too soon, man.
You think David Tyree sends a text?
Mm.
Should be a $50 fine for not knowing someone's dead.
Really?
Yeah, especially
What?
when you're inside of a couple of months.
I didn't know that about Foss. Sorry.
Wow.
Rest in peace.
Whole thing took a dark turn. We
It
were
really
all
did.
having fun. We were enjoying ourselves, and now look what's happened. We were just
Jim's
rubbing-
fossils.
we
Well,
were-
I couldn't let that go unchecked.
Oh, no.
Oh God.
What
are you
happened
doing?
there?
What
I don't even know
I mean,
how
the
that
man
came
died
out
a
of
couple
my
months
mouth.
ago.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Too soon.
Sorry.
Too soon.
Sorry about that.
Awesome.
Sorry about that.
What, Billy? You explain yourself, Billy. No, you're laughing.
No,
too
I
much.
just said that's so
you
bad.
Just shout, like, what?
That's so bad. You shouldn't have.
Like why? Like why?
Too far.
Why?
Too far
He
and too
can't.
soon.
He just.
Yeah. I regret it.
I mean.
No, you don't.
I did this time, actually. I was a big Jim Fossil fan. Came out of nowhere, led a team to a Super Bowl. No one had Fossil doing that. Love an underdog story.
6 feet underdog.
Oh,
An underground story.